Welcome to season 2, episode 14 of the Oso Spurs podcast, where today we have a special guest, a Liverpool fan. Dave, how are you, mate?
Very good. Thanks for having me on. I'm looking forward to the game on Saturday.
It's gonna be a spicy one, I think, and we're looking forward to chatting about it with you. And from the regulars, we have Sai, of course. How are you, mate?
Hello, mate. Yeah, I've missed you boys since last night. It's been a long day till I saw you again. So, lovely to see you.
Very good. And we've got Deej, of course. How are you?
Doing good.
And we have the wonderful Johnny. How are you, mate?
Recovering from missing last night, I was absolutely gutted to not be there for the half century. Well,
It was,
what a landmark, and I wasn't there for it. But anyway, it sounded good, so
It
good
was,
to be here now.
yeah, it was a bit rushed together, as I've said on the previous pod. I'm currently travelling, so not on my normal setup. It's normally a bit more professional than this, but there you go. So yeah, we've got a huge game coming up on Saturday. I would actually throw a controversial statement out there and say I think Liverpool are looking better than Arsenal this season. And if anyone's going to push, is it not controversial? I thought that'd be
Not
controversial.
controversial
Okay,
at all, mate.
okay, all right. Well, maybe it's not controversial on a
Take
Spurs
it
pod.
controversial, put it back in the bag.
Well, I think this is going to be our toughest fixture yet, even though it's a home
without a
game.
doubt.
I think it's going to be the toughest game we've had this season.
Yeah.
And that's partly why we've got Dave on, because it'd be great to understand, Dave, what's the feeling from Liverpool fans? Are you feeling confident going into this game? It feels like you guys have really started you're in rebuild, like you're in your second rebuild with Klopp. And it feels like it's just starting to click into place. And this season you're looking quite strong. But how are you feeling about the game?
Well, I mean, Klopp keeps calling it Liverpool 2.0, so I think that very much echoes what you're saying there. It does feel like a new start, but there was obviously an element of apprehension there. Was it going to be kind of a season of transition type thing? But obviously the start's been very strong and optimism levels have really shot up across the board. I think, the point you made there about Liverpool stronger than Arsenal. I mean, I'd say it's quite controversial considering that basically at the start of the season, there was a lot of people not even putting Liverpool in their top 4. And now there's people saying, they're actually the most likely to challenge City. We've played 6 games, so, things change quickly. But in terms of this game, I think the overriding feeling is, we've come through with 5 wins and a draw so far, but we have obviously you guys on Saturday, and then the following Sunday we go to Brighton. And I think the feeling within the fan base is if we can come out of that with 4 points, maybe even 6 points, then yeah, we are, serious title contenders. But also there's a possibility there that if things go badly, it's maybe a bit of a reality check. So either way, it's going to be a real test of this team's credentials, I think. And I'd say I'm excited because the game should be a bit different to what it's been like maybe in previous years with more negative managers, if you like, on the Tottenham side, but also apprehensive for the reasons I stated, I guess.
Yeah. And is there anyone key missing for you in this game, or anyone that you would say player-wise Spurs should be, if they were putting any Liverpool player in their fantasy team, who would they be putting in there for this game?
In terms of missing players, first of all, Trent Alexander-Arnold isn't playing tonight in the League Cup against Leicester. He's still injured. He should be back for the weekend. It looks like there's some optimism around that, so that's good news. Thiago looks like he'll still be out, but Liverpool have options now, thankfully, to kind of mitigate against his absence. And if I had to pick a player, I mean, you honestly, I know it's the basic answer, but you cannot look past Mohamed Salah. I mean, his consistency recently has been absolutely phenomenal. He's got a goal or an assist in every single game. I think going back to last season, it's 12 straight games now where he's, either netted one or set one up. So,
Wow.
he's just literally in that robotic rhythm that he gets into sometimes. And I think, did he score twice in this fixture last season, I want to say? So obviously Tottenham know, full well the threat that he poses. And I think he would definitely be the one to watch on Saturday.
Interesting. I thought you were going to say Nunes then, but I'll ask you a bit about him later. Johnny, I'll start with you because you missed yesterday's pod, mate. How are you feeling going into the game? Are you feeling the Ange train's going to keep going and we're going to get something out of this? What's your thoughts?
I certainly agree with the claim about it being the hardest game so far, but I do think the home advantage I'm hoping will be significant. We haven't played well against Liverpool for quite a long time. Obviously, the last time we played them was that insane capitulation when we came back from 3-0 down to 3-3 in injury time and then still managed to lose with that back pass.
Yeah, but we gave
I,
Lucas Moura his swan song, so it was
that's
all
right,
worth
exactly.
it.
Yeah, Lucas Moura. So I mean, and I'm thinking back to last year. I think we played Liverpool around October, November last year at the Lane, and it was like actually the second half. I think we lost 2-1, and we were 2-0 down, and basically Eric Darbus gave Salah a freebie with a horrific back pass, so we don't have to worry about that happening this time. And the second half, we were all over Liverpool and really did not deserve to lose that game, in fairness. So I don't know. I'm quite hopeful that I really don't. I don't think we're going to lose, and I'm hopeful that we can do it with the way things have been going. I think back at home, really strong performance in the derby. We're not missing anybody. I don't think. I know there was issues with Maddison and Johnson. I gather that that's looking fairly positive. So I think if we can go with the same 11 that we had, I don't see a reason not to start the same 11 that we had in the game of the Emirates. And I think we're going to get at least a draw. But I mean, there's no question Liverpool are absolute quality and they're purring at the moment. I don't think they've had a game as hard as we will give them either yet by quite a stretch. I mean, they've been. The bits I've seen, I think they've been pretty ropey in the starting a lot of games. I think the game against Wolves, I remember not so long ago, they were pretty lucky to be only a goal down, and they've kind of rallied, which does say something about their character, a bit like us as well. I think they're looking pretty confident, and there's nobody playing weak. The midfield's obviously hugely transformed. The Szoboszlai signing is really impressive, and obviously McAllister's quality as well. So yeah. I don't know. I think we'll get a draw. I think we'll get a draw.
I'm going to say I think you're saying a draw there. Like you said, I think there's massive similarities with our managers now. Like we all know that if Ange, God forbid, was to leave Tottenham, I think the only club in the Premier League he would go to would be Liverpool. By the sounds of things, he said before his Premier League team as a kid was Liverpool, and he's got that kind of Klopp thing of preferring to punch up rather than punch down. And I think he gets satisfaction from beating the elite clubs, and thankfully he's trying to do that with us. But Sai, what about you, mate? How are you feeling going to this game? What are you thinking result-wise?
Really nervous, mate, if I'm honest. I think that to answer your question, how will we play? I think Ange will stick to his guns. We'll play the way that he wants us to play. He's going to be non-compromising in that, and if irrelevant of the result, he will learn something from whatever the game is. I worry that at times we've looked quite open at the back this season, and if you look at the Man United game, they had 14 shots in the first half. Jesus the donkey should have scored that sitter when he nicked it off of Maddison, shouldn't he? And then that could be a different game. I look at the forward line of Liverpool, I think they're way more clinical than Man U or Arsenal, so we need to be wary of that. If you look at the results this season, last 4 games, they scored 3 in each of the last 4 games. But if I'm going to grasp at any straw, if there's a glimmer of hope there, I think they're a bit vulnerable. They've been a bit slow getting going in some games this season. So if we can get out there fast and get at them, and I think we will get at them without a shadow of doubt, there could be something there. I think it's going to be a really open game. I think it's going to be a great game of football. And I think that again, we come back to this, the midfield battle. I think that our 3 in the midfield against their 3 in the midfield is going to be where the game is won. Bissouma, again, if he can raise his game like he's done for nearly every game this season, he's something special, that fella. I hope Maddison's fully fit. But then you've got the midfield there for Liverpool. You've got Enzo's playing very well, and I can never pronounce it, but Szoboszlai is a quality player, mate. He's just fitted straight in. So I think it's a really good contest. I think it is our biggest test. But again, I look at the results here. I look at the games that they played. I think it's by far Liverpool's biggest test this season as well. I think it's going to be a cracking game. I'd like to get some views from Dave there about whether he thinks that the game tonight will affect the weekend. We've had a whole week. I don't think at this stage of the season it's about fitness, but is it about preparation? Is it about, because from the Leicester game tonight, you've got Thursday, bit of recovery, Friday, travel down to London. You've not got any training time before the game. So, Dave, I wonder if you've got any thoughts about whether that's going to affect anything.
Well, I mean, in terms of fatigue, I don't think it's going to be an issue because I'm expecting 10, 11 changes, certainly from the lineup. I think Liverpool are facing a similar thing with the Europa League as well, where they probably would feel basically a B team in a lot of those games. So what I'd like to think that Jurgen Klopp was doing was almost training for the Tottenham game all week with the main group, and then almost the group on the side are focused on the midweek game. I think that would be maybe the sensible way to go about it. To be honest, I was surprised when you guys went out the cup. And to be honest, maybe I don't know. Obviously, you can say this better than I can, but it feels like the only sort of negative so far this season, because obviously the thing about having the opportunity to win the trophy, but I guess now coming into a game like this, like hang on, it's actually a pretty big advantage to spend the entire week 100% focused on playing Liverpool on Saturday.
Yeah, maybe.
And I think, I do want to go back to Deej before we go too deep into this, but I had some more questions. But yeah, just so I don't forget, Dave, I will ask you as well, because in your two best seasons when you won the Champions League and Premier League, if memory recalls, Klopp was, I wouldn't say he threw the cups. I don't think any manager throws the cups, but you went out the cups early and you really doubled down on those two major competitions, because you just don't have the resources of Man City, like we don't, to have, a bench full of players on 250k a week. That can just slot in and cover all competitions. But before we go to that, Deej, I wanted to get your predictions on the game and if you felt we're going to make any big changes to the lineup or anything like that.
I kind of feel like it kind of depends on if Brennan Johnson is okay. If he's fit, I kind of would like to see him start again. I think he's like that kind of pace would be really good against Liverpool's kind of high back line that they're like kind of famous for playing now. I think that this game is interesting because it kind of feels like Liverpool and Tottenham are in a similar place based on their start of the season expectations. Like Liverpool, obviously, like Dave said, maybe expected maybe a little bit outside the top four, maybe like fourth, but now they're like up into like title contention, and then we from like won't finish in the top half of the table, and the betting favorite to get relegated, to now competing.
Be careful
for
what you say here.
I was just gonna say competing for Champions League spots. I'm not going anything above that because we couldn't. Could we?
Yeah, could we? I mean, Anne said it's your duty as a fan to get excited about this.
I'll get excited for getting back into Europe for now.
Get your heart broken again. Do it.
Yeah, but I think that this game is going to be really interesting. I think that I'm excited to play this game without having the kind of negative manager that we normally have, though I do think that kind of setup is a little bit advantageous going into games against Liverpool, as we have seen but not necessarily executed on. I think that we've had a lot of chances to beat Liverpool. It's just been just haven't beaten them because of just us being just cursed, it feels like. But overall, I think this will be a really interesting game. I think that one set of fans will probably take, if a team loses, I think that one set of fans will probably go a little bit overboard. But I don't think they should. I think both teams are in a really good spot, regardless of the outcome of this weekend's game.
And Dave, so going back to you then, I did have a few more questions on the lineup. So you obviously had Salah as your danger man, but it sounds like Darwin Núñez he's one of those that, because of the price tag, got a lot of scrutiny from the media when he didn't immediately come in and score 30 goals. But it sounds like he's heading in the right direction. And is it a right assumption that Liverpool don't play with a striker who's all about just goal scoring? They're a fundamental part of the build-up in attack. And like Firmino was like that for you as well, wasn't he, right? It always like, why aren't they not upgrading Firmino? But it's not about the goals from your striker. It's about the whole interlink play in the front three. But yeah, can you tell us a bit about Núñez this season, and if you think he's a major threat for the weekend for us?
Yeah, I think in this game last season, I believe he set up a goal for Mohamed Salah. So I think he showed, the threat. Obviously, it's going to be a different kind of test this time around, and he has definitely made big strides. Coming off the back of last year, I mean, he's had a really strong start to the season, and I think you're spot on in terms of, obviously scored a decent amount of goals so far, and his goals per 90 and things like that is all looking pretty good. But it's not just about that. The reason he's looking like now that he's nailed for a spot in the team, and I hope I'm not kind of cursing him and putting him on the bench now for the weekend or anything like that, but it's just the combination of, I think his counter pressing is really important. Klopp said he's made big strides in that area. He's going to be kind of harrying your centre backs a lot more effectively than he would have been last year, and also his hold up play as well. Last couple of Premier League games, hold up play from Nunez has been key in sort of helping Liverpool counter attack. And one of the times it led to a goal, another time it led to a penalty. So I think that's another threat to watch out for as well. Obviously, kind of having to follow him out physical battles with the centre backs. I mean, him and Romero just seems like a battle of two lunatics, to be honest. So we'll see how that one goes. But yeah, it's not just, like you say, it's not just about the goals. It's the all round package, and it's looking a lot more in the right direction so far this season.
And Dave, we're going to start the score predictions as the next topic of discussion. So you can kick us off if you want to set the theme. What are you going to put a score on the table? What are you going for this weekend?
I think I probably will say 3-2 to Liverpool, because I cannot see a scenario where there's not, multiple goals for each team. I just think there's been sort of vulnerabilities at both ends defensively, but I think maybe Liverpool's attack might just shade it, but I think it's going to be very close.
Interesting. Well, you're slightly outnumbered by Spurs fans on here, so you're going to have a wave of reverse predictions here. Johnny, what about you? What are you predicting for the game? And I'll give you a bonus question, Johnny. You've got to tell me who the goal scorers are going to be as well for us.
Oh, right. Okay. I feel really yeah, Clive, good old Clive. He'll be outside the pitch, but being interviewed. Yeah. I feel really kind of similar about the scoreline as I did about the match last week, and I was kind of like torn between 2-2 and 3-2 in our favour. And I do agree with David. I just think the way that both teams play will leave the back lines exposed, and there will be goals. But like again, just good goalkeepers in both teams as well. I think it'll be really entertaining. I think I'm gonna consign negative Nelly to the bench again, and I'm gonna go with 3-2. And I fancy Sonny to keep it going. I mean, he was just ridiculously clinical last week, and his confidence is flying. So let's go with Son, and let's go with Madders with a free kick, and Brennan Johnson to hit the mark finally. That's the dream. Although that was my dream last night as well. Was it? Yeah, that's a nice dream. Yeah. So I'm going to go 3-2, even though I was kind of erring. Yeah.
So our net scores are currently equal, but Si, what about you?
Yeah, there's goals in this game without a shadow of doubt. I think it'll be like I said, the midfield battle will win it. The back line, I think both of the back lines have got some weaknesses in them that the forward plays can exploit. I'm not negative Nelly, so that's gone. I'm a bit of a conservative Colin here, and I'm going 2-2. I think it's a Desmond, and because I think we're still learning what it means to be the team that we want to be at the back, and we do look nervous at times, and we do look open at times, and I think that the quality of the Liverpool forwards are going to expose that to a certain extent. But I think we've got enough about us in the midfield and up front to be able to come back from any setbacks that we've got. I think we've shown that. But at the end of the day, though, it comes back to, are we still progressing as a team and what we're learning as a team? We're 6 games into a new organisation, a new way of playing, a new philosophy. And the reason why the Gooners were so upset at the weekend is they're 4 or 5 years into a new philosophy, and we've got to that point almost after 6 or 7 games. So what's it going to look like after a year or 2 years? So I think that as long as we continue to show the progression that Angie's talking about, as long as we continue to play the way that we want to play, I think that 2-2, 3-2 to us, 3-2 to them, it's almost an irrelevance at this point, if I'm honest, because it's about the game, it's about the progression, it's about what the players learn from each other at that time. We don't expect to be anything. If we could get into Europe this season, I mean, that's good. I mean, some of us were predicting 7th, 8th at the start of the season. So, listen, if we can get to 4th, 5th, 6th, I think that's a good season for us. And let's have a good run in the Cup. That'll do. But I'm going to go 2-2.
Okay, I think you might be being, a bit of a cautious Colin there. I'd say 5th
I think
or 6th.
so,
My
mate.
expectations have changed. Ange has surpassed all expectations to the point where I'm thinking a little bit hard. And
7-0.
it's not. No, I think we should be. I think we should be looking at the top 4 as a realistic thing this year. But Deej,
definitely.
what's your score
It's a
prediction?
possibility. It's a possibility, Jim. But I'm not saying it's nailed on. Do you know what I mean? So it could be.
It's never nailed, and you got to believe. You've got to feel it.
You've got to aim for that now.
You've got to aim for it now. Deej,
Definitely.
go on. Score prediction for you.
I think this game has a lot of goals in it. I do also think that a team could get off and running early. I know that we've mentioned Liverpool being a little bit slow out of the gates, but we also haven't necessarily been the quickest team off the block.
Yeah.
So I really think that if a team, especially because of the way these teams play, I feel like goals could kind of snowball, kind of like we saw last season in the, I guess both halves, different teams, but I think that this game could get away. I could totally see another 4-1 to Liverpool, or I could see a 4-1 to us. I could see really anything in between. I think both teams will score a lot of goals.
So what you're saying is, Deej, you have no idea.
Oh, where you put? Oh, yeah, lay your bench
absolutely
there,
not.
dude.
Absolutely
How wide
not.
is this bench you're sitting on, by the way?
Okay, so
You
we're
gotta-
going to score
Decking.
between
On the table.
0
Decking.
and 10, somewhere in there, and they'll probably do the same.
I
That's
need
my
an
final
exact
prediction.
score, Deej, and we're going to be going over all of our predictions that we've done on all the pods, and who has the best
All right.
score at the end. So you've got to give us one.
Okay.
Go on.
My heart's saying 3-3. I think we do something pretty similar to last season, but Lucas Moura isn't there to provide Diogo Jota with an inch perfect assist.
Okay.
But he has won the cup in Brazil, though.
Yeah, we're not going into that, are we? 4 months
I
in,
think
another
that's. I
failed
think
record.
that's. Is that not the record of somebody leaving us and then winning some silverware?
It is. Unfortunately, it is a record.
Little
I believe,
fucker.
yeah. And it is apparently the Brazilian Cup is more important than their division cup. So it's a big win for them. So it is a major trophy, relatively speaking, for them. But anyway, let's not go up to about ex-Spurs players winning trophies. This isn't the place for that. I'm going to go for I think we're all going to expect this to be a really open, high-scoring game, but it's going to be one of those where it's just so nervy, tense, and we cancel each other out by both having really strong midfields. And I feel that it's going to be 1-1 in the 90th minute, and I feel one team is going to score. There's going to be a lot of injury time. It's going to go on. There's going to be 10 minutes at a time, and someone's going to score a winner. It feels like that game. And of course, I'm a Spurs fan, so I'm going to say we're going to be the ones to score that winner, and it's going to be 2-1. Bedlam in the South Stand, and we'll all be staying late after the game. Sigh. And Johnny,
to be
having a
fair,
good-
to be fair, Jim, you've been a bit of a Mystic Meg this season, haven't you? You've been nailing
true.
the predictions.
That is true.
So Dave, watch out, son, because he's on the money. I'm telling you.
No, but it's yeah. Was there any more? Do you have any more questions for Dave? Or Dave, do you have any final comments you wanted to make as well about the game?
No, I mean, I just think that, before the season, I had a good feeling for you guys with Postecoglou, just in terms of the cultural change that you'd see at the club. And to be honest, I didn't think the results were going to be this good. I thought it was going to be more of a patience thing, but obviously you've flown out the block. So that, I think his style of football will lend itself to a very, very open game. And I think one thing to watch out for on the Liverpool side of things, just before we finish up, is Liverpool don't have a proper number 6. I think Tottenham have got 2 very good midfielders in there to provide a bit of solidity. Liverpool are, going with McAllister maybe, and they might get drafted in for this game. But I think that's an area where Spurs might find a bit of joy. And I personally think that if if Liverpool's solution in that area is inadequate for this season, then Tottenham will be one of the teams who can expose that.
Could be.
Interesting.
Do we think that the Ange home run has got any impact on this game as well? What is it? How many games now has he gone
It's
unbeaten
50
in
now,
home
right?
in the league? It's 50 home games in the league across all leagues since he's been managing. 50
Yeah.
home games unbeaten.
It is incredible. It is incredible. I can't believe how much, we've said it so many times, how much this guy is just, I think that you touched on it, Dave, you obviously know a bit about him, but it's that personality that he's come in and just like overhauled the whole culture of the club from top to bottom. Is the thing I like about Ange, and I can't say I like Klopp because he manages an opposition team, but the one attribute of Klopp I have respect for is he's never going, I don't have the resources to compete with Man City and that I'm going to leave and go somewhere else. It's always like, he does moan about it a bit, but he's willing to go step up to the fight. And I feel like Postecoglou's the same. He's like, I've got what I've got. I'm going to get on with it. And eventually I'm going to grind you down. And I am going to take home one of those major trophies. And I'm going to show you why I'm a better manager than you. So yeah, they have got some similarities there. So yeah. Any final comments, guys, before we wrap up?
Jim, who's scoring the winner?
Who's scoring the winner? Oh, that is a very good question. It's Richarlison.
Oh,
Of course it is.
Of course.
God, the blue nose.
Dave
The blue
Sheffield
nose gets
says-
the winner.
That was it. Yeah, that was it.
Oh, it's bad
Actually,
enough last
that's-
season, honestly. Well,
Actually, but I just, of course, because of the Everton links, I assume, Dave, you think he's an absolute muppet and you hate him. But
keep that to myself.
yeah.
I'll leave that to myself.
I can, we can completely see why if you don't follow the club he plays for, he would just be the type of player that just like, just get under your skin for just being insufferable at times. But yeah, I like him. He works hard. But anyway, we always finish with an up the Spurs, Dave. So I'm sorry you're going to have to hear this, but up the Spurs, roll on Saturday.
Spurs.
First.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Oh yeah,
Like and
actually,
subscribe, people. Like and subscribe.
a serious note. Thanks. We had a big flurry of subscribers over the last month, and we've smashed past 1,000. But we still have, according to my data, about 30,000 people who have listened to the pod over the last month that haven't subscribed. So if you do listen
fellas, come on.
and you feel like it,
Oi, come on, it doesn't cost anything. Here we go. Leo's come to say hello. Subscribe.
Leo subscribed.
if you did subscribe, it's got a mission: get Jim out of his job into full-time football podcasting. There you go. I just need
Hold on.
50,000 subscribers.
You might want to think about that then.
Oh, yeah.
No, I love my job. Anyway, up the Spurs and roll on Saturday.
Go on, you
Spurs.
Spurs.
The Spurs.